Steve Bowers welcoming you to Dialogue here at D Plus TV6 in a conversation with Wayne Jerrolds, who is a fiddle man extraordinaire. He's been with Bill Monroe and the Bluegrass Boys. We're just swapping names here, so I don't know where we're heading this conversation. We're going somewhere. It's good to see you.
Nice to see you, Steve.
Well, I didn't know you'd been on American Pickers, and you said that they bought a fiddle from you.
They sure did, yeah. They was my house, I guess it's 2 years ago in this past February. And they come in and they actually get a conversation started. They said, "Would you sell us a fiddle?" And I said, "Well, yeah." And I had about 12, 15 hanging on the wall, and they picked up one, and Clint, my grandson, he picked it up and said, "Now this has got Bill Monroe's name on it and Chad Adkins." And what's her name, the girl that's got all the tattoos?
Okay.
I can't think of her name, but she's with American Pickers.
Okay, yes, all right,
And,
okay.
I said, yeah, I would sell them. And when Clint told them about, had their names on there. In fact, they had Junior Vestal too. If you remember Junior Vestal.
Yeah, BR549, yes, sir.
Yeah, he signed it too. But anyhow, will you sell it? I said, yeah. And she said, I'll give you $2,000 for it. I said, well, that's too much.
She said it was too much.
I did. I said, that's too much.
Was that part of the script, or did you just...
No, I just
you really
said
felt
it
that way?
I didn't expect them to say, I'll give you 200 or something. And she said, well, how about 1,500? And I said, well, whatever, yeah, that's all right. And they cut the mics off, said, now we're going to try to Jew you down, but don't take it. We're going to give you the 1,500 for sure.
So they started off new less.
They started off new and trying to Jew me, and I said, no, and they said, okay, 1,500 for the fiddle.
Okay.
Then they bought a suit that Bill Monroe would give me, and they give me at least $350 for it. It's just hanging there in the back room. And I had one of Roy Cup's coats that he had furnished when they was having a benefit thing there at Nashville.
Okay.
So they bought it from me, and just a lot of little
How'd you get
items.
Chet Atkins' signature on this?
Well, see, we was playing at the Station Inn.
Right, in Nashville, the
Yeah,
Bluegrass
and I was
place.
playing with Bill Monroe.
Right.
And Chet had his own thing going. I don't know if he even had anybody playing with him, but he could do it by himself, and sound good.
So he was just y'all was backstage together?
Yeah, we was backstage. It's about 3 acts, and one just standing there, and I said, Chet, you want to sign my fiddle? Oh, yeah. He signed it, and there was Mr. Monroe looking on. Of course, I was playing with him, and I said, Mr. Monroe, you want to sign it? No. You're just letting me because you got Chet to sign it. I said, no, I'm not. I've been aiming to get you to sign it, and I just hadn't got around to it.
How'd you get Junior Samples on there then?
No, it's Junior Vestal.
Junior Vestal,
Yeah,
okay.
You remember Junior Vestal.
Yes. Junior Vestal from here in town, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you said Junior Samples.
No, well, I could have, but I didn't mean to.
No, I'm sure that was my hearing is what that was.
Yeah.
Wayne Jerrolds is with us, and Wayne founded the Tennessee River Bluegrass Festival. I mean, many things.
45 years ago. This will be our 46th year.
But yeah, Junior Vestal and Charlie Roach, all those guys that were here.
Yeah, they're all gone.
We just did this thing with Jimmy Stevens about all those record labels and studios that were here. You know, the Lou Records and Jackson Records and all that, and a lot of those names came up.
I know,
and
we miss our old buddy Carl Mann, you know.
Yes,
I played with him.
You played with him a lot.
Or he played with us. I guess he joined their band about 3 years before he passed away. We had lots of fun and played lots of places.
Yeah. How'd you get started in music?
Well, that's just a thing in
Your family musical or?
A little bit, and my daddy's real musical, but said he didn't have time. He just had to make a living, you know, but my uncle played some, but that was a big thing in the community. Every weekend they'd have musicals, you know, there's no TV, maybe a radio, and they'd have musicals. And there's a band there in Savannah, an old band that had been playing for 50 years, just waltz tunes and all that.
Right.
They'd come to different people's homes and play.
Just front porch kind of stuff, or in the yard
Yeah,
kind of thing, right?
or in the wintertime inside.
Inside, all right.
And they'd take down the chairs, and some would dance, you know, or take down the beds rather than move the chairs. And my daddy come in one evening, that's about 1947. He says, they're going to have a musical down at Uncle Grover's. You want to go? Oh, yeah. I didn't know what it was, but I went, and they got the Hardin Qualls and Bob Qualls and the old man, them Thomas and them, they got to playing all they pretty waltz tunes, and it just done something, pierced my spirit, in other words. I said, man, that is beautiful. That's what I want to do. And it never did leave me as I got a little older.
So did you start on the violin or start on the guitar?
No, I didn't. I didn't have one. I tried to sell garden seed. I walked up and down that creek for days trying to sell enough to get me a fiddle, you know. If you sold so many garden seed, you get a fiddle.
Oh, okay.
Never could get one. And I started to high school. I wanted to play in the band, but I didn't have an instrument.
Okay.
I'd go down there and I wanted to play trumpet. And I'd watch them all, and I'd sit there without an instrument, and I'd tell my mother, I'd like to have a trumpet. Well, maybe some of these days we'll find you a good use one.
Okay.
And that's the way it went. I didn't get one. I just
So
quit.
the first instrument you were able to play then was what?
Well, I thumped a little on the guitar. We sold wood, and Daddy bought us a guitar for $13 at Del Rio, Texas, Bob West. I remember you heard it on the radio, you know, and it was $13 guitar. Still have it.
So what was the radio show that you were listening to? Do you remember?
Wayne Rainey and Lonnie Glosson, I guess.
Okay. On what station? Where was it being?
Del Rio, Texas.
Del Rio, Texas.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Boy, that's just been 74 years ago.
Okay.
So
got you a guitar and started from there. When did you get your first violin or fiddle?
Well, after so long, my mother bought one for $15. I found one, and she bought it. And my uncle, he had one, but he just one fiddle, and he went to the Army, and he told him if he got killed, he wanted me to have his fiddle. But he didn't get killed, so I lost out on that. No, I'm glad he did.
Boy,
He was a nice
you had a
fella.
hard time getting ahead here.
I like to never got me an instrument. I'll tell you what.
So how old were you when you finally got a fiddle? And
16.
16.
Yeah.
So who taught you to play, or did you teach yourself? Or?
Well, my uncle, he could play some. Of course, he quit and he got married, and you know they say, well, we work, we don't have time to fiddle.
Okay.
I'd watch him, Hardin Qualls, and Waldo Davis, I guess, was more instrumental in it than anybody. And they played. Waldo could play a good swing fiddle. He used to play with Miss Billy Walker here. Do you ever remember her name? Oh, that's in the 40s. She had a big radio show.
So here, Mrs. Billy.
Miss Billy Walker.
Miss
There's
Billy
a lady.
Walker.
Yeah, lady. She had a radio show here for years, and
In Jackson.
that's in the 40s. Man.
All right. I'll have to look that up.
I used to listen to him on the radio.
Okay.
And that's kind of when it started. And then my uncle, he was, of course, the same community. And when I got where I could go to Savannah, there was a fella there that's pretty much alcoholic.
Okay.
He'd played on all the radio stations till he got to drinking, and he had to give it all up. So he'd be around the pool room, and I'd put my fiddle and guitar in the car and take my mother to work, and she'd give me $1 for the, to eat lunch at the pool room. And I'd go in there and I'd say, Hardin, I've got my fiddle and guitar and car, let's go play a tune. Oh, heck, that old music ain't nothing to it. You know, he'd done got bored. Well, he wasn't bored, but he didn't give up because he couldn't keep a job from being drinking.
Right.
I'd go around on the other side as a taxi driver had Wildcat whiskey for $1.
Okay.
I'd buy him that, and we'd go around there, and I'd show it. Hey, boy, he'd light up like a Christmas tree.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go play some. They'd be another old fella in there, and drunk too, just loafering. Hey, Wayne's got a fiddle and guitar and a half pint of whiskey. Let's go.
So it's everything you need for a band.
That's where I got my education.
So you learned from there. Okay.
Yeah, I'd watch him. I didn't drink. And I didn't eat dinner because I used my dollar.
Used dollar. So Mom's giving me $1 for dinner and it's going to music lessons.
That's a fact. Well, that's good or bad, but that's the way it happened.
There you go. Well, we're just getting started. Wayne Jerrolds is with us. This is Dialogue at E+ TV 6.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool. To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back to Dialogue at E+ TV 6 as we continue a conversation with Wayne Jerrolds. He's a fiddle player extraordinaire, multi-title holder of state championship fiddler in Tennessee, worked with Bill Monroe, the Bluegrass Boys, has done many things. Wayne, when you're young, you learn how to play the fiddle, whatever. Where did you see this going? You were talking about like in your family, well, we ain't got time to fiddle, we got to work. You found time, I guess, to do both.
That's what my daddy said,
Yeah.
but he was talented. He could sing about any parts, you know, harmony, lead,
Right.
but he didn't
But you heard these waltzes and all this kind of stuff, and that's what you really wanted to do.
Boy, they were beautiful and still are. They don't, many people play them anymore, but back then it was when that band had come to a community and to a home.
Right.
Her Frida's great granddaddy, they used to come to their home and play, which is we're all kin folks, you know, and when he was real sick, old in the bed or in the hospital, and right before he died, he said, it was the Jim Bain band that used to come out there.
Okay.
Before he died, he said, I hear the Jim Bain band playing.
Okay.
I guess it'd give him morphine or whatever, but it was such a beautiful sound.
Sound to him, okay.
That's what he said.
So it's family music, community music, and all these other things, right? And so when did it become, did you have that passion from the very beginning?
Pretty much, you know,
okay.
I guess it's hereditary, even though my daddy, he didn't materialize any on the music part, but, and so he could have. My mother loved it though, but she couldn't sing a tune.
Okay, but liked hearing it. Right.
She liked to dance, and she planted the seed of loving the music in there, but I mean, just to hear it, it grew on me till I had to try to learn to play.
There are a lot of names of people that with whom you've been associated, but one of those was Wynette Bird, who became Tammy Wynette. How did you become part of her band?
Well, I was playing in Memphis, and this feller, boy, he loved my fiddle playing, so he said, you need to go to Birmingham, Country Boy Eddie's show. He's a fiddle player.
I used to watch that show when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's where I went. I went
BRC television, I think, on Channel 6.
Channel 6 there in Birmingham,
right.
and I went up there and played with them a long time. And
as a regular part of their band on that show? Or?
Yeah, I played twin fiddle some with him, and we'd go out on tours, you know, to Montgomery and all the places within 100 mile radius.
Yeah, if you're on television, when you're on television those days,
yeah,
it was
we
a big
got
deal.
lots. That's where he
Well,
made
like the Rhodes Family, Memphis on radio.
I remember them. I used to go to Dusty's house at Memphis, and he taught me a lot on the fiddle. Dusty is good. But Tammy Wynette, she was Wynette Bird at that time. Right. She was a girl singer there on Channel 6.
On Channel 6 on the Country Boy Eddie show.
That is true. She had 3 little girls, and one of them was in the hospital nearly all the time listening. They didn't think she was going to make it, but she did. And her husband was a carpenter. And boy, she'd really get in there and push herself, and that's, you know, I guess it worked for her.
Yeah.
But I know one day we was going from Birmingham to Montgomery to play a show on a Saturday. And we left, and she was talking about changing her name. She said, I think Tammy would be a beautiful stage name, you know. And we went on to Montgomery and played and come back, and time went on. She just got to letting someone from Nashville, they'd come down and take her to play instead of riding with the rest of the band.
Right,
you know, she'd go with them. Then about that time, I quit and went to work in Memphis, learning to tune pianos and playing some music over there. And she said Tammy would be a beautiful stage name, but that fella that was coming from Nashville, was I guess she was working out a deal, a record deal. So after I've come home that fall, I was coming in and I heard this woman singing. I said, "Darn, that sounds just like One-It Bird," you know, the lady.
Right.
And they got through and said, "Tammy One-It with Your Good Girl's Gonna Go Bad." And I said, "Lord, she making it happen."
Okay, so made it happen.
And she went on, and I think she married that man. And naturally, George Jones come along, and Stepping Stones, well, there's a good one.
Okay. Golden Ring and a bunch of other things came out of all that, right?
Yeah.
Got a lot of stuff. All right. So did you work in Memphis as far as, were you on radio there some as well, or?
Oh, well, I worked with Eddie Vaughn on the Channel 13.
13,
so,
okay.
Yeah, I
So
was with him his first
just
show.
So he had the show just like Country Boy Eddie did down in Birmingham.
Did.
Okay.
And I was on the first ones, but then stayed with him a while, and we'd have a country music shindig down on the weekends and play. But then I got a job at Shakey's Pizza Parlor.
All right.
They'd pay more money than Eddie would, and I went to work there and worked there 3 years, about 3 to 4 nights a week. Yeah,
playing.
But I'd
Shakey's
back
Pizza was
and
a big
forth to
thing.
Savannah, tuning pianos and driving the school
How
bus.
did you
and
link up
everything.
with Bill Monroe then?
Well, I was playing with the Warrior River Boys in Jemison, Alabama. With Al Lester out of Muscle Shoals. He was a great fiddle player, and we playing twins in this band. And we was sitting there when Bill was playing, and Kenny Baker had been with him about 20 years, and they'd been on a tour for about 2 weeks, and they were short-tempered. And somebody hollered, "Play Jerusalem Ridge," and maybe Kenny didn't get to play it at that time, and it kind of made him mad, and Bill finally says, "Here, play him Jerusalem Ridge." And he said, "Here, you play it yourself." And he tried to give Bill the fiddle. He walked off the stage. And then time went on. He hired Buddy Spicer. Buddy is one of the greats there at Nashville and more. And a year or two later, I got around quite a bit playing this other band. And
so they knew you?
Pardon me?
They knew you?
Yeah, and Buddy Spicer was playing with Crystal Gale a lot, but he was sitting in with Bill too, and he wanted, I think, some relief from playing, and he told Bill to get somebody else. So Bill said, "Would you like to be a bluegrass boy?" And I said, "Well, I think every fiddle player wants to be." Right. And he said, "Well, I'm going to be down in Mississippi on a certain date. That was in 1988. Says, come down there and sit in with Buddy and play fiddles." I did, and we got through. I reckon I passed the audition. He said,
so how long were you with him?
Well, it started, that's the
Did you
last
say your
week.
first gig was Grand Ole Opry?
Yeah, last week.
Right.
Yeah.
First time you played with him, you just was on Grand Ole Opry?
that audition wasn't at the Grand Ole Opry, but he says, "I'll get with you next week."
All right.
And I said, "Well, okay." Of course, I didn't have a cell phone and didn't have answering service, and I couldn't sit by my phone. I had to go to work every day. Finally, on Thursday evening, I come home, and this was after work hours, and that secretary still trying to get in touch with me. Said, "Mr. Monroe's been calling you all week." I said, "Well, I've been out of town working, tuning pianos." And said, "Mr. Monroe, here he is." He come, "Where you been, boy?" And I said, "Out tuning pianos." "Well, you want to play with me tomorrow night?" I said, "Yeah, where we going to play?" "Grand Ole Opry." Boy, the feathers went down. I dreaded to start off on the Grand Ole Opry. But I did. He said, "Come on up." I believe it was on 16th Avenue, getting to Union. And so I did. I believe it was $180-something, but I went on and played. And that first night, he wanted me to play a fiddle tune. I did. It was a Methodist Preacher was the name of it.
All right.
Boy, the heat or the pressure was on, but I reckon I made it.
You stayed with him how long?
Stayed till next April, I believe.
All right, good deal.
Yeah, it was about 6 months.
6 months on the stage with Bill Monroe. Wayne Jerrolds is our guest. We'll continue this dialogue right here at E Plus TV 6.
What this place needs is better graduation rates.
What this place needs is less childhood obesity.
What this place needs is free help with taxes.
What this place needs is healthy breakfast.
What this place needs is fitness programs for kids.
What this place needs is early readers.
What this place needs is mentors for teens.
What this place needs is people to join us. What this place needs is you. To donate or volunteer, go to unitedway.org.
Steve Bowers, welcome you back to Dialogue here at E+ TV6 as we continue our conversation with Wayne Jerrolds, fiddle player extraordinaire, recognized international champion on the fiddle, member of Bill Monroe's Bluegrass Boys at one point in his life, and continues to play. He's got his own television show on Channel 39, on Channel 7 here in the Jackson market and West Tennessee market. And so he's continued to do things. I want to ask you about a couple other people. One of them is Neil Jones. There's Scotts Hill, and that whole area's got a whole bunch of talented people that came from there.
Oh, man,
Curtis
yeah.
McPeak on the banjo.
Curtis McPeak, but you got to go back to further.
All right.
Oh, man, John Gilbert, back in the 20s.
Okay, the Gilbert family.
He started, and Noel Gilbert, you know, went on to Memphis. He is over the Memphis Symphony there.
Okay.
And then Neil, he took lessons from him, and you know how far he went.
Yeah.
Neil was on Columbia Record at one time.
He sure was. I found some of those records. He was kind of a comedic type country talent. He was on the Big D Jamboree and all that.
And Howard McNett, he started out, got his band. He was a grandson of old man John Gilbert.
Okay.
And he started a band, and Eddie Arnold joined him.
Okay.
And they went on into Memphis, and they was playing show dates in Arkansas and around.
And then there was Hack Johnson and the Johnson brothers.
Oh, Hack and Clyde Johnson, Scottsdale. Yeah. Man, that was the headquarters for country.
I
and
mean, it's just stunning. Out of that one town, all these people come from there.
Yeah, they sure did. And
because Hack and them had a radio show somewhere, right? Hack Johnson and the Johnson brothers.
Hank, I get to Bluegrass Unlimited, and he went on to Knoxville in the, what was that, Kaz something show up there.
Okay.
It's a big show where Chet Atkins and all of them start.
Okay.
He went up there, and he was on a major label for a good while.
Wow.
I read about him in the Bluegrass Unlimited here a while back. Hack was doing good.
And
him and Babe Lofton, you know, he even got a label there at one time.
And then Hack's brother's name was?
Hack and Clyde Johnson. Clyde was a school teacher, I think.
And up there in Decatur County, David Wilkins came out there. I mean, just all along that river, there are people coming right and left.
Yeah, boy, they did. It just spurred from that old man. And I've said, you know, a teacher affects eternity. You can never tell where his influence stopped, because that old man was a piano tuner.
Okay.
Waldo learned from him. Then I learned from Waldo, much as Waldo knew. I had to go to Memphis and take a little more training. But that started from Scotts Hill, you know, just branching out. And Junior Vestal, and back to Howard McNett. They called him Speedy McNett.
All right.
He had a band, and that was the grandson of old man John Gilbert.
Okay.
He had a band right here at Jackson, went on into Memphis, and Eddie joined him, Eddie Arnold.
Okay, wow.
And,
so Eddie Arnold came in through that Scotts Hill connection as well.
Yeah, he sure did, see. And Junior Vestal's daddy gave him lessons, for a quarter a week. And he told me, said Eddie come to him one day and said, it was on a Tuesday, I believe, and said, would you give me my quarter back? Says, I want to go and buy something. Said, no, I can't. Says, if I do, I'll have to give the rest their quarter back. But, you know, he sent old man Tom Vestal, that's Junior's daddy, sent him a Christmas card every year until he died.
Well, so I worked with Gordon in radio there at Lexington.
Yeah, Gordon, I knew him.
The brother. So,
sure did.
The radio and all that comedy. So all of that came out of the Gilbert family in Scotts Hill.
That's just about right now. And back to the one that Eddie started playing with, Speedy McNett.
Right.
Then they went on into Nashville, and they were big time band, but they couldn't make a living out of Memphis. They went to Nashville. And Eddie got that song out, Cattle Call,
and the rest
is Howard McNett, Speedy was the leader of the band. Eddie's the leader then, and they was on the Grand Ole Opry a good while.
Okay, wow.
So, you know, the singer, the one that sells the most records is
the one that
leader.
leads the band.
So it turned around.
Okay.
And they traveled with the fella that wrote the Tennessee Waltz. I can't think what his name was.
Pee Wee King.
Pee Wee King, he traveled with Pee Wee King a lot, played fiddle for him, and said they were coming back from somewhere on a tour, and Bill Monroe was singing Kentucky Waltz. And he said, Pee Wee, somebody ought to make it a Tennessee Waltz.
Yeah.
And he made it Tennessee Waltz right then. And
I met him through Lynn Pratt one night in Nashville. Didn't know Pee Wee King. I mean, I knew who he was. I didn't know it was him. He came and started talking to Lynn and got his autograph. I still have the little card.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to give you a chance to explain what this thing here is.
You name it, and you can have it. No, that's the fiddle, but I've got a mandolin on the back. So half fiddle, half mandolin, I call it fiddle-in.
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 So you can just flip it going through a song and play both parts.
Yeah, you do.
Also, this fiddle has 6 strings.
Yeah, I do. I don't use it all the time. I use the E, A, D, G, the 4 strings that's on all fiddles. But down here, I can get a harmony sound, a high violin sound with this little ones. And it's optional. I don't do it all that much, but sometimes it's a beautiful sound. Then the bass string up here, it's a viola string, so you can get a low viola sound on
Well, did you
slow.
invent this? I mean, just come up with this idea?
I don't know of anybody else that's ever had it.
Okay. So
But
you
yeah, I
got a
invented this.
six-string
I got a
fiddle
patent.
on one side and then a mandolin on the other.
I got a patent on this. Took me about 5 years and a little better than $10,000, but I got a patent.
So if you want to buy one of these, it's Wayne Jerrolds, Savannah, Tennessee.
Yeah, I've got a few left, I think. I could get in it maybe in big time, make a little money, but anytime you got a business, you got to devote your time to it. And I want to play the fiddle instead of sit there and try to work out problems on it.
That's like me one time years ago. This guy said, if you're going to make any money in radio, you need to own them. I said, well, I don't want to own them. I want to talk.
Right.
So
that's what I want to do instead of working all the time. Of course, there's not that many young fiddlers to
well, you're
sell
saying
to.
that it's kind of a losing art out there.
It's
So what's
a losing
happening?
art. Well, that's the hardest instrument there is to play, and it takes so long. You're done an old man like me before you got very good on it.
Finally figure out how to play it.
Yeah.
Okay. So is that whole, I guess that whole family front porch, all that obviously went away with television and we entertain. We don't entertain ourselves anymore. We watch somebody perform is what we do nowadays.
Oh yeah, that's just about right. Yeah. And boy, they used to
I
have
think
the
about
fiddling
Scottsdale, all those things
contest.
you mentioned coming out of Scottsdale, and I thought, well, that would have only happened during that time period.
Yeah,
right?
But it just keeps people still can know where the roots are, the way we learned over there.
Are you still learning?
I'm learning too. In the last 5 years, I've learned more than I had 20 years prior. I've had a little more time, and there's a method. There's a fellow that used to play with Bill Monroe. You've heard Uncle Pen, what Bill Monroe put out. He played the fiddle on it. He went back to Mississippi. He was great. He played with all the greats, and he told me about when Hank Williams died. He was on that show. Oh, yeah, big deal. Everybody says they was behind him or whatever.
Yeah, right.
But then after he died, that was Red Taylor. He was great on the fiddle. Okay. So after he died, I found a book about Hank Williams, and there his name was on the last show with him.
Wow.
On the where they advertised. So he was telling me the truth.
Right.
But he was that good, but he's another alcoholic. Couldn't stay up there. He was with Ferlin Huskin, Bill Monroe, and they thought he was a crazy, but they couldn't put up with his drinking. So, but he had a unique style. So to tie in with, I've been learning.
Right.
He showed me some of his technique, and
so
it didn't sink in until a few years ago. I kept his record, got to this, and now it's just unraveled. So
Wayne Jerrolds is still learning, still writing music. You can catch him on Channel 7 and Channel 39 here in West.
Right.
It's a delight to see you.
Well,
Friends for a long time, and I appreciate it.
It's nice to be on your show here.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it very much. Wayne Jerrolds. Stay with us here at E+ TV6 because this is the place where the dialogue continues.